Welcome back to my YouTube. It's your girl Honey. Today we're doing a video talking about Jupiter being in your 5th house. Jupiter is the planet ruled by Sagittarius. Sag is home to the 9th house. The 9th house represents philosophy, higher learning, distant travels, foreign lands, foreign cultures, traditions, foreign foods, for religion and spirituality. The 5th house is ruled by Leo. Leo rules the sun. The 5th house is basically all things fun. We all love the 5th house, all right? And when you've got Jupiter in here, planet of expansion, it's going to amplify your fun. The 5th house is basically the fun house because it represents children, casual sex, flings, romance, your hobbies, interests, and gambling. This is how I look at Jupiter. Jupiter comes from a very serious house, the 9th house, which is philosophy, exploring, studies, higher learning, really stimulating the mental, right? Now, when it falls into the 5th house, Jupiter prefers being in a house that allows you to explore philosophy-wise, you know, explore religions or cultures, or kind of overindulge in things that's going to mentally stimulate him. When it falls into the 5th house, depending on what's in that house as well, okay, you can end up overindulging in far too much fun. You got Virgo in this house. Your type of fun may be Mercury type of things. For example, playing Scrabble. Those of you in the US, don't know if you guys even know what Scrabble is, but it's basically like a spelling game to stimulate, you know, your mental state. I'm not really into Scrabble, I hate Scrabble, but I'm more of a hangman kind of girl. Now, when you've got Neptune or Venus in this house, you may be someone who creates. And when I mean create, someone who makes beautiful music, someone who probably sketches and paints extremely well. Jupiter is going to make you look at this as a hobby that you enjoy, which you will invest a lot of time into to perfect your skills. That's probably a really good placement for someone to make money from their creative skills, because money is your Venus and it's your Jupiter. And if it's in your 5th house, you should be making money from your creative abilities. Now, in regards to children, I always use people around me in real life as examples, because this is how I initially learned astrology, by looking at the people's characteristics around me. So someone that I know, a friend of mine that I know, he has his Jupiter in his 5th house. He's now in his late 30s. However, he first had his child in his early 30s, okay? Jupiter can slow down the process of you having a child, but it does not mean that you won't have kids. Jupiter grants you with a lot of kids here, by the way. You can have like 5+, and that's considered as a lot of kids in this society. It can grant you with a lot of children, but it can slow down the process. Jupiter works on timing, okay? Jupiter will give you a child at the right time. And he went through a lot of pregnancies, a lot of miscarriages, and a lot of abortions throughout his years of, you know, being very active. This is a placement that I look at for people who are actually really good parents. You know, they invest a lot of their time, a lot of their physical energy, mental energy into raising their kids, because Jupiter is the teacher. So you're going to be the teacher of your children in regards to teaching them absolutely everything. There will be lots of conversations in regards to philosophy, exploring, traveling. And the mad thing is, because this represents travel, especially if Sag is in this house, because this person more than likely would have traveled somewhere as a child or lived somewhere else. The person that I know, he lived in a Caribbean island for 6 months because his mum wanted to send him away to learn the culture, the language, the traditions, the values, the education, you name it. Those people that have this placement would have done a lot of traveling, and all the stories and the things that they learned whilst exploring would be shared with their kids. These people tend to really like children, and children seem to really like them. I've seen a lot of kids gravitate towards my friend so many times. And I'm just like, kids gravitate towards me, but I'm like, Cap Moon, I'm not very maternal, okay? But they seem to really love him, and he's always loved children. When it comes to overindulging, this is some tea, honey, okay? Overindulging with Jupiter, what happens? This is the house of sex, casual sex, romance, and fun. Jupiter being here can make you somebody who ends up having a lot of sex. This is one of those placements that when I see it on a guy's chart who I could possibly have an interest in dating, I have to take my time to explore him outside astrology as well as in astrology, because this is a placement that gives a very high libido or high taste for wanting to explore multiple people. You can be dating multiple people, but again, this all depends on how evolved that person actually is as well, because a lot of people out there can, you know, once you find someone that you really want to be committed with, you can. It all depends on synastry charts as well, all right? So this is all stuff that I take into consideration when I'm dating someone. I always look at their charts to see, right, you know, what's a deal breaker for me? And that Jupiter in the 5th house, I show my concerns, but it's not a deal breaker, but I am side-eyeing it, you know? So what happens with the overindulging here is that these people may end up overindulging in travels and exploring things and going out on dates and having multiple partners. Whatever is in this house, Jupiter will express itself within that sign, all right? Jupiter and Taurus, you may overindulge in luxuries, in food, in fine dining, and overspending. Jupiter and Sag, you may end up traveling and traveling to different countries to explore the culture. You may end up traveling so much, and you may feel comfortable with it because you've also got to look at the nodes as well. Because when I see South Node in Sag, I'm like, okay, and you got Jupiter in your 5th house, you're going to be traveling far too much, because this is energy you are far too comfortable with, honey. You better get close to home. North Node in Gemini, honey, get close to home. Explore your communities first, okay? Now, my friend who's got this placement, right? When it comes to his dating experience, and I've asked him bare times, like, are you sure? Are you sure you never want to get married? He's like, no, I don't. And he has an abundance of women, you know, that want to be with him because he uses his Jupiter as his blessing. He travels a lot. He makes a lot of money because Jupiter, again, is seen as your wealth. He makes a lot of money, and he is seen as a catch to a lot of women. So he looks at it like, well, why should I settle down? What's the point if I've got women that, you know, are all around me? And this is not every Jupiter, you know, 5th house person at all. I'm just using him as an example because he's hella interesting to use. And what I've noticed is, you know, he's got a kid, and he's kind of finished with his girlfriend now, who's now his baby's mother. And he absolutely loves his kids. You know, I'm not surprised, because Jupiter 5th house would make you be this parent that you just want to be around your kid regardless of the day, the time. You just want to be having fun with your kid. But it can make you be this devoted parent, but not so devoted partner. Because this is the house of Leo, remember, Leo is very childlike, very playful, and it just makes you not really evolve or mature as quickly, perhaps, as other people in regards to your relationships, because you've got a lot of this Leo energy going on. This is why you get on so well with kids. You love being a kid sometimes and not being the most responsible. And sometimes responsibility is being in relationships and being committed and making plans and moving forward. Jupiter 5th house people are not always ready to settle down, especially if you've got Uranus in this house and you've got Sag in this house. You're not going to be ready to settle down yet. It takes you guys a little bit of time. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We're not all on the same page. Just be honest with who you are and what you want to do, where you see yourself with other people. I don't see how people can hate you for being honest. Now, Jupiter in the 5th house is looking directly at the 11th house. All right, 11th house is home to Aquarius. The 11th house is your networks, it's your social groups. Jupiter being in the 5th house is going to grant you with networks as well. Okay, it's going to grant you with connections and with very intelligent friends, a lot of friends. Jupiter 5th house people, I call them the plug, because they are the kind of people that will say, oh,
did you just buy a new washing machine? I know a guy who works in a washing machine company. He could have got you a washing machine. Oh, you wanted to get a new car? I know a guy who works at the car finance shop. I can get you a new car.
These people have connections with every and everybody, because Jupiter likes gains. And Jupiter being in this house makes you someone who is likable, depending on how it's aspected, all right? But it can give you gains in regards to people around you, networks, connections. And you tend to meet these people doing fun things. Maybe one of your friends invited you to an opening of his friend's restaurant, and he introduces you, hey, this is my Jupiter 5th house friend. You guys start talking. Next thing you know, you guys are now connected one way or another. But this is what it can do, which is absolutely shamazing. So the 5th house is your interests, right? Jupiter is also your money. You're going to have an interest in making money. A lot of people that have Jupiter in the 5th house tend to have an interest in stock and shares, or the stock market, or whatever. These people tend to be very, very good. Because you can overindulge with Jupiter being here, you can be someone who likes to get money by any means, especially if Jupiter is aspected by Pluto, because Pluto likes to make you get gains, but get gains in a dark way. All right, so this is a placement that I would find a lot for criminals. Criminals, or people that like to do money laundering, or even drug dealing, you know, anything that's in regards to getting money quickly and easily. This is a placement that I would not be surprised if someone's done something in regards to making money quickly. Now for women, Jupiter can also be seen as the husband. Jupiter in this house will grant you with a husband that you possibly meet doing something fun. You know, fun for you could literally be going to a club. Fun for you could literally be, I don't know, having a picnic in the park. Something that you feel being fun, that is going to be where you meet your husband. Okay, so look people, that is my Jupiter in the 5th house video. I hope you guys have thoroughly enjoyed it. I will see you on the next one, people. Take care.